we're going to continue with using weighted sums and averages here. We're going to do that with Student Activity Sheet 8, and this is all about quarterback ratings in the NFL. So the NFL uses quarterback ratings, and it's a way that they compare quarterbacks with each other, as well as compare quarterbacks to players who have played in the past. And they just use a formula. And the formula has to do with the percent of completions per attempt. And to get that percentage, you just take the number of completions, you divide it by the attempts. Touchdowns per attempt is touchdowns divided by attempt. And then interceptions per attempt, yards gained per attempt. And those are all done the same using the different stats. And here is the formula for completing or for compiling the quarterback rating. Okay, so the quarterback rating, we just use this formula right here at the top. So that's going to be kind of important. Okay, we want to be able to plug into this formula. So let's get started. We'll do number one. And number one says for the first two games of the 2008 season, Tony Romo completed 45 passes in 62 attempts for a total of 632 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. We want to verify that the rating for those games is about 113. We're going to round each value to the nearest tenth. Okay, so each value is rounded to the nearest tenth. Reminder, that is 1 decimal place. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what is the percent of completions per attempt. So to do the completions per attempt, we take the completions he had. So he completed 45 passes, and he did that in 62 attempts. And we divide that out, and we get 0.726, so 0.726, which then is a 72.6%. Okay, completion percentage. Then we do the number of touchdowns per attempt. So he had 4 touchdowns in, again, 62 attempts. And when we do that out, we get 0.065, and as a percentage is 6.5%. Then we need to do the interceptions per attempt. So the interceptions, he had 2 interceptions in 62 attempts. Divide that out, and we get 0.032, which gives us a 3.2% interception percentage. And then the average yards gained, per attempt, we do the same thing. We take the total yards here, and he threw for 632 yards, and divide it by the 62 attempts, and we get 10.2 yards. Now notice the average yards gained per attempt. This is the only one that is not a percentage. This is not a percentage. Okay, so make a little note of that. This is not a percentage. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to verify that these values give us the quarterback rating of 113, approximately. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula here, and we're going to just plug our stuff in. So the quarterback rating for Romo was the 25 plus 10 times his completion attempt, which is 72.6, plus the 40 times his touchdown percentage, which is 6.5, plus, minus the 50 times his interceptions, which is 3.2%, And then we add to that 50 plus his average yards per attempt, which is 10.2. Then we're going to divide that whole thing by 12. When we do this, we get a quarterback rating of about 113.4. Now remember, we were asked to round to the nearest tenth, and we see that that is a pretty accurate quarterback rating for these statistics, about 113. Perfect. So now we can move on to number 2. As of 2009, Steve Young has the highest career quarterback rating in NFL history. And here are his stats. What we want to do is we want to find his quarterback rating. So to do that, we do the same thing. We got to do the percent completions. We got to find the percent touchdowns. We got to find the percent of interceptions. And we have to find his average yards. So the completion percentage, he had 2,059 completions divided by 3,192 attempts, and that gives us, we divide that out, that gives us about 64.5%. Now the touchdowns, we do how many touchdowns he had. He had 174 touchdowns divided by the 3,192 total attempts, and we get a percentage of 5.5%. Now the interceptions, I'm going to move this down. So percent INT. The interceptions, he threw 85 interceptions with the 3,192 attempts. We divide that out and we get 2.7%. And now the yards, we take the total yards he threw for, 25,479, and we divide that by the attempts, 3,192, and we get 96 we get 8. I jumped ahead there. We get average of 8.0 yards per attempt. Now to do his quarterback rating, we do the exact same thing. His quarterback rating is going to be 25 plus 10 times his completion percentage, 64.5, plus 40 times his touchdown percentage, 5.5, minus 50 times his interception percentage, 2.7, plus 50 times his average yardage, which is 8.0. Divide that whole thing by the 12, and we get a quarterback rating of 96.3. Perfect. 96.3 quarterback rating. So there we have it. There's number 1 and 2, and it's just a matter of taking the data and applying it into the formula.